Greetings, loyal minions, beautiful humans. Welcome to the Sci Show, the #1 ranked YouTube channel for people called JB. If that's you, I appreciate you. Huge shout out to JB. You know why. Uh, Sometimes people can just make gestures and it doesn't have to be the grandest gesture ever, but sometimes it's a very humbling and very, I don't know, I just find it a special moment when people do things, they go out of their way to make someone else's day better. And yeah, I'm not going to go into too many details, but JB, thank you. This whole video and these summons at the end are dedicated to JB. Enough with Sai being emotional. The Beast. This guy looks ridiculous, but as always, we've got a whole family to review, so we're in for a long one. We will check out the portal in the Alliance Quest portal. Classic Hero 1.2%, Legendary Event Hero 0.3%. That's right, so you've got a 4 times as much chance of getting a Legendary Classic as you do the actual event that's on. Although there is also 1% for a featured hero, so kind of evens out in the end. But yeah, I'd like to see those odds. I feel the odds of getting an event hero should be like double, if not more. I mean, we'd love more, but anyway. Costume is included if available. We do have a costume for Aramis, who was available, I think, in the Fated Summons. Anyway, jumping straight into the Beast. Now, with a name like the Beast, I would think they could make many cool looking characters. I don't know if this is from a specific series of like Beauty and the Beast and, the artwork is paying homage to that in some way, but it's ridiculous. The Beast, you make it look so cool. Scary things look cool. This looks, it doesn't look scary. It doesn't look cool. It looks ridiculous. That's as much as I'll say about that. We have a monk, which gives the talent of withstand, so pretty decent. Chance to resist those status ailments. Although, that actually goes against, I did have a very brief look at something. I think that goes against something in his skill. But anyway, we've got the Rage Aether talent, so a bit of extra attack. Considering he's slow, I did see he's slow. That may not really come into play too much, especially with the special. Gives a bit of tile damage, but it's neither here nor there, really. All right, new family. We have the Beauty and the Beast family. These heroes gain Humility to cast a strong version of their special skills. Now, without being negative, I just hope that it's not something extra we have to pay too much attention to. I feel we're getting to the point with certain heroes, and some people love it. I used to really love getting into the nitty-gritty of heroes and the mechanics and the synergies. Sometimes at the moment, I just think there is too many things to pay attention to. So with that being said, different heroes have different humility requirements. When the hero casts the strong version of their special skill, only the required amount of humility is consumed. Maximum humility is 100%, or 100. So this character with the family bonus, for 1, 2, or 3 unique heroes of the same family, the hero gains 15, 17, or 20 humility when receiving direct damage from special skills. The hero gains 20, 22, 25 humility when receiving direct healing from special skills. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to quickly jump here to the special skill, just so it's a little bit more seamless as opposed to going through the passives first. So we can see the very first part of the special skill, if the caster has more than 35 humility. So we jump back here. So for 35 humility, you need to take damage from 2 special skills, which will give you 34. Or in this case, you'd say, okay, we get damage from 1 special skill will give you 17, and then you might, sorry, that's for 2 heroes. So we go back to 1 hero, you get 15 humility, if you've only got one hero for taking damage from a special skill. And you'll get 20 from healing. So you think, okay, if we get hit once and we heal once, now we've got 35. Otherwise, you would need to take hits from 3 special skills because 2 would only be 30. So 3 would get you up to 45. I just think I not complained a strategy in holding off your specials, but I'm just wondering if that's too much to be worried about. How many times have I been hit? How much humility do I have? I know the humility will hopefully just add up on the screen. It will be easy for you to see. But yeah, you've then got to remember, different heroes have different amounts of humility needed. Anyway, revival health reduction. All enemies have minus 50% health when revived. I'm going to say that's a counter to the Wildcats, which is handy. Just another reason to use this particular hero. It doesn't mention anything there about from special skills or anything. So when they revive, they have less health. So that means the Wildcats come back with 50%. They should come back with 25%, which will make them a lot easier to then continually kill over and over again. Heal when status ailment expires. The character receives 10% health each time a status ailment expires or is cleansed, removed, or reallocated from. This effect can only happen once per turn. So that's where, and I'm just going to check the next passive, Beautiful Inside. Whenever the character would take damage from a status ailment, they will recover that much health instead. So not only, so if you've got an ailment and it's going to give you 200 damage, you recover 200. But on top of that, when that ailment expires, you then get 10% heal as well. That's interesting. So the ailment's still going to stick to you, but you get healed, and then you also get healed when it removes. So instantly great against any ailment teams. You wouldn't, if the beast is on defense, you wouldn't want to be taking an ailment heavy team against him, such as all the Frost heroes, the Untold Tales 2 heroes. Now that does tie in though with the fact of why make it a monk class. This is where things get a little confusing. And I'm probably getting nitty gritty here, but you've got a 30% chance to resist status ailments. I know not every status ailment gives damage, but you kind of want status ailments. So when it's expired, you get some health. And if you're taking damage from one, you get health. So, I mean, it's kind of, if you're taking this hero on offense, you would take it against teams that do the ailments, but then you've actually got a 30% chance of resisting it. I mean, it does cleanse. If you resist, it can cleanse. Anyway, it's just a little, we talk about synergy, and it's just, to me, that's a little technicality that's just a bit silly. It kind of counteracts itself. Anyway, wow, this video is long and I've barely even started. So if the caster has 35 or more humility, it deals 430% damage to 6 random enemies. All hit targets get minus 54 defense against dark for 4 turns. So that's huge. Instantly good for Titans. Enemies hit automatically cast mindless attack on a random ally when mana is full at the start of a turn for 4 turns. The caster regenerates 1200 boosted health over 4 turns. That will go up, no doubt. No, 1200 is the same. Okay, so that's if. Otherwise, they deal 430% damage to 5 random enemies. All hit targets get minus 40% defense against dark for 4 turns. And the caster regenerates 1000 boosted health over 4 turns. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. Obviously, absolutely amazing if you're getting the humility. Now, this is where these heroes on defense, I feel, will struggle a little bit, because you would just make sure you're either taking heroes that you can hit, one, or you don't have to hit him, or you would kind of be making sure you had enough firepower to kill him before setting them off. And you can time that. Obviously, I can't see anything to say the humility ever reduces. So it can help a little bit, because, you're not always going to be able to kill them or evade them or not hit them. So yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's going to put a lot more strategy if there's more of these heroes that come out, or more mechanics that are similar to this. But without the humility, I think, and that's where, like, if this guy was tank, I'd probably set him off deliberately before you start casting your specials, or maybe just hit him once, then make sure he gets set off. But he is doing a lot of damage still, 30% to 5. That's quite a big hit to all 5. The defense down, they do regenerate. For a slow speed hero, I don't think it's doing enough without the humility. Because I like, for a slow speed hero, you want to not only decimate from a damage point of view, but you also want to be hamstringing the enemy, basically, and that's where the mindless attack comes in. So again, there's many heroes now that increase mana. You've got the ones that increase mana to the edges, or the ones next to them. You've got a Zonalfod, as an example, will do all. There's bards. There's different ways of speeding up mana. So with the right team, and I've seen people making these teams recently where they have a couple of slow heroes and they get really excited because it's like, oh, but if I get my normal 9 tiles and I get this hero charged, then I can give the other heroes, and my slow heroes will decimate the team. In a way, that's great and it's fun, but also sometimes if you just have the 3 normal hero, if you pick your 3 best at average speed, you're still going to kill people in 9 tiles, but it is a bit more fun to decimate the whole team. I will give it that, rather than slowly pick off a few. Anyway, I hope all that makes sense. I think, as I said, with that, humility is going to be amazing. Defense, I think it lacks the flexibility. It's still going to be annoying. But yeah, on offense, where you can take a healer, Zonalfod's perfect because not only you're healing, which will give the humility, but you're also then adding mana as well. So Zonalfod, especially costume, would be a great pairing straight up. And then, yeah, you can try to get him charged up in those same amount of 9 tiles. You probably need a bard with that as well. Wow, there's a lot going on with this hero, but I think fantastic if you can use humility, even with outside of rush, but especially in rush, if you can get that humility and just do that insane damage with mindless attack on everyone. Obviously, there's people that can resist it and that type of thing, reflect it, but great hero. Pity about the artwork because he's absolutely just stupid looking. That's all I'm going to say. I could think of something funny, but I don't need to. All right, moving on. We need to get through some of these heroes. I am going to do some summons at the end, as I mentioned. We'll jump back in. Aramis costume, we'll just really quickly look at this at the difference. So he was a ranger. He becomes a paladin, which gives extra defense. He gets a new passive, resist defense ailments. So just immune to status ailments that affect defense. Doesn't apply to affect elemental defense. Okay, that's interesting. Just should stop everything. Costume bonus is huge, 55%. Wow, that is huge. Makes him extremely relevant. 55, 55, 65. So he's gone from 375 damage to target nearby to 400. The main thing of Aramis early days was the fact he boosted health as well with that damage, and he still does that. That's the same, boosts all allies' health by 30. And even though he only hits 3, he does boost everyone. All allies are immune to new status ailments for 3 turns. This effect can't be dispelled. So that's still there. That's what made him awesome. The caster reduces all received damage by 20% for 3 turns, as opposed to getting plus 30% defense. So 400 to 3's not that great. It's decent at average, but it's nothing special. It is the fact that ailment immunity can't be dispelled. So, it's too late for Bernadette, really. I mean, she's still annoying in certain places. But yeah, if you've already got the original, I don't think he's anything special now to pull for, but that any ailment immunity that can't be dispelled, and that's for all allies. So pretty good, but especially if you've already got the original maxed, it just makes it so much easier to do the costume because they are quite cheap. So that's Aramis, another great hero in the portal. So very good looking portal so far. Oh, I'm clicking everywhere. We also have another new hero. I'll only briefly look at the newer 4-star and 3-star, but Rose de Flo really reminds me, I don't know, like Toxicandra or like Poison Ivy, but I'm thinking of, is it Poison Ivy or maybe I'm just thinking of Toxicandra? Yeah, we'll throw that on with the Druid. So we get the Master Companion, which is a cool little minion, which gives a bit of meat shield. Fiend Resist is handy against the vegetables. So that's another good counter. Brand new hero with the Fiend Resist, so straight up handy against that. We'll see what else we've got. We've got the Humility here. So same deal. 1, 2, or 3 heroes, you get 15, 17, or 20 for receiving damage. 20, 25 when receiving direct healing. That's interesting because this particular hero is a healer at very fast. So that's interesting to see what the exact skill will be. Revival health reduction, same thing there. Great against those. Wildcats, heal when status ailment expires or is cleansed. And whenever a character takes damage from status, they recover that much health instead. So exactly the same as we just looked at. Stats are pretty good. Actually, I didn't check the stats on the Beast. Yeah, he's pretty... Generally, you'd have a bit more health on a slower hero, but he's pretty balanced, to be honest. Rose de Flo is pretty good as well, actually. Again, very balanced. For very fast, you would generally see a little bit less health. But yeah, no, that's pretty good. Attack stat's quite high, considering I don't think she does damage. We'll jump into that skill now. Beautiful Petals. Oh, that sounds so beautiful. Sounds so pretty. If the caster has 60 or more humility, so this is where it's a bit strange because at very fast, you're generally not going to have 60 humility, so you'd need to take time to build that up. So just to get you understanding that, that's taking either 4 lots of damage from special skills, in which case you're probably going to be dead, or a mixture of that and being healed 3 times. That's a lot, 60. So if they've got more than 60, it recovers 30% health for all allies, cleanses status ailments from all allies. That's awesome at very fast, but this is only if you have 60 humility. All allies regenerate 1440 HP over 3 turns. That's a pretty good amount on top of a 30% heal. And again, keeping in mind against someone like the Fiends, you're getting a decent heal very fast. You're then regenerating health just to keep getting rid of them. The caster gets 74% defense against special skills for 3 turns. Otherwise, it recovers only 20 health, cleanses 1 status ailment from all allies, and all allies regenerate 900 HP over 3 turns. Wow. Would make a fantastic healing pair with Nibbles at very fast, because Nibbles is going to heal, which will give you some of your humility. And then once the regenerate would probably override Nibbles though, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, you're not really going to be running 2 very fast healers. But this, I find it very weird that at very fast, the hero needs more humility than the slow hero. Again, this is a new... I like... So keep in mind, I don't like to look at heroes too much before they come out. I like to get a surprise of them coming in game and then sort of talk through and learn the hero as it comes. I don't need to like study all the beta stuff and then, spoil it for everyone, so to speak. So, yeah, I find that interesting that the slow hero only needs 35 humility. Very fast needs 60. I mean, the thing is, you're going to... Very fast, you're only cleansing what... This is a really interesting hero because with that 60 humility, it's amazing. But are you going to survive to get there? Just keeping in mind most boards, you're going to go off at least at very fast. You'd probably generally go off before the enemy or maybe after you get hit once. But again, if you've got hit 3 enemies that you're going against, they could miss Rose and she doesn't get any humility at all. So you could be sitting there waiting to get that humility and only get a 20% health, 1 cleanse, and a little bit of regen. That's way less than Nibbles. It's probably what Nibbles was 15%, I think, to start with. It's just not enough. 20% health is nothing. Especially, yeah. You either need to pair with another healer, but then it's kind of not a great pairing because your other healer is going to be slower and you're only getting 20 humility for a heal. And 15. That just... It almost seems weird. Like maybe let me know if I'm missing something, but that really seems like a high amount to get. I mean, at very fast, that is a fantastic skill. But it's not really very fast because unless you're getting smashed, you really need to cast your skill once to give yourself some humility, then get a few hits. So really, it's almost very slow because it's almost a 12 tile special to get to this. It's almost no different than having, like the magic or the tower speed where you get one charge very fast and then the next. I don't know. I think that's fantastic skill there, but to get that 60 humility, I think you're taking a big risk. Um, and again, on defense, I think that's even worse than. I mean, you're building up your skill quickly. So as a tank, I don't think 20% health, and a cleanse and a bit of regen is enough to sort of be able to use her as a tank to then get the special up 2 or 3 times to then really get the bonus. And I think anywhere else on defense, probably taking too long, and it's only a small. So if that's your only healer and you're only doing 20% health until you get, basically got to get hit by 4 special skills to get to 60. And 4 special skills, you're going to be dead. So interesting. I think I would prefer the Beast. Rose could be amazing, especially on offense if you can time it right and use correctly. But I still think it's a bit of a risk because you're only getting 20%. I know I'm going over the same stuff, but anyway, we will jump into some of the other heroes. We have Villiers. I'm not going to go over his costume. We have Chandel, so same sort of thing, same humility, same everything. Passives are all the same. Average speed. I like looking at the 4 stars for either a Alliance quest or tournaments. So if the caster has 35 or more humility, so again, at least this only needs to be hit, 1 heal and 1 hit, or a couple of hits, or 3 hits. If the caster has 35 or more, deals 300% damage to the enemies on the edges of the enemy formation. If there is only 1, damage is doubled. Reduces max health of the enemies on the edges by 500. Otherwise, 260% damage to the... Yeah, see, again, you're risking having a crappy skill. So I'm not a huge fan of Chandel. Yeah. 260%. To me, there's just too much difference between the 2 skills. Like, it is only a 40% difference on the health, on the hit. But I mean, that's 80% when you're hitting 2. And you do the extra 500 max health reduction. I mean, the max health should come off before the hit anyway, to be honest. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, if there's not a big enough difference, then it's kind of pointless having that mechanic. But I also wouldn't... I guess it's a bit of risk versus reward. And if you are the type that can strategize and hold your specials and take other heroes. So, as an example, you'd try to take a fast yellow healer in the same team because then you're guaranteeing that you're getting, 20% or even on average speed. As long as you take a healer, you're guaranteeing 20 of that humility, but then you need to make sure you've been hit by a special. So I think that 35 is a decent amount because you can kind of control that if you pair with a healer. Hello, Psycatsis. That's Chandel. I'm not a huge fan, but being a new 4-star, still probably better than most of the others. For tournaments especially, not so much the Alliance quest or events because you're not hitting 3. We've got a costume for Felton, which is interesting. He at least looks... I know he still looks dodgy, doesn't he? Yeah, I wouldn't be taking any candy from him and getting it into any vans with him. I'd usually do that for most people. If someone's offering me some candy in a van, I love my candy. Lucas, 3-star fighter, good class, exactly the same humility. Yep, same everything. I don't need to go through that. Gentleman's Cane, fast speed. If the caster has 35 or... So we're getting all these 35s at average speed and fast speed, but this, I just find that weird. I don't want to keep going back to it. Anyway, Lucas, Gentleman's Cane, fast speed. If the caster has 35 or more humility, deals 270% damage to the target and minor to nearby enemies. The caster counterattacks with 90% of the damage for 4 turns. Otherwise, 250% damage to the target and nearby enemies. So again, you're only looking at a 20% difference in the attack, but you're getting the counterattack. Could be used purely for events because it is new, so the attack stat would probably be a lot higher than some of the older heroes, although the costume ones can hit pretty hard. Depending on what color you're using for events, green is generally not the go-to for 3 stars. Yeah, the counter attack wouldn't really matter, and you're still doing a 250% hit. Only minor to nearby though, so again, I don't think he's anything good. He's going to be fine in tournaments again, being new. All these passives about ailments. Not many revivers on the 3-star, but I mean, even for the fighters. So if we just check that fighter, they do revive with. They only come back with 1 health, so that's not going to affect anyone having that. So there we go. That was a lot of heroes, a lot of information to go through. Let me know what you think of that mechanic. I feel it's a little too high for Rose, but also, is it too annoying to keep track of that sort of stuff? Let me know what you think. Well, let's jump into some summons. Again, huge shout out to JB. He did tell me these summons were going to be lucky, so it's all thanks to him. Let's see what we get. I might do a 10 pull as well if we don't get too much in these summons. If you're doing any summons, I wish you the best of luck. Hope you get the hero you are looking for. I'll try to run through them a bit quicker. Hopefully no one's superstitious about... Oh my god, Eldrin. Hopefully no one is superstitious about going through these summons quicker. And if you are, well, I just got Eldrin, so it kind of doesn't... Oh, Quintus! What a lucky pull! Wow. Well, they've been lucky. I've got 2 5-stars. Wow. Just not the ones I wanted. Getting a lot of yellow. All right, what are we getting in these? Oh, we got an Aether. That's nice. Alpha Aether. All right, let's do a 10 pull because that was horrendous. I mean, it was very... This is where these Legendary Classic... I mean, I've got a 1.3% chance. I could have got both of those new heroes there. Anyway, let's see how we go. I would really like... Actually, well, not really like, but Beast would be kind of cool. But having said that, Greymane looks cooler than him, basically, and he's a crappy old 3-star from 100 years ago. No luck as yet. Oh, I'd love to get one more 5-star for you all. Didn't even get the 3-star or 4-star from the event. And that's how the summons roll sometimes. So I will probably do a few more summons again dedicated to JB. But yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed all that. As always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, remember to gently press the subscribe button. Go check out my other stuff. I've got heaps of old videos. People say, oh, do you have any videos on? Generally there is, so search them all. There's Mythic Titan, there's War, Strategies. There's so many videos there. As always, let me know your thoughts. Give your kitty a script for me. And have a bloody good one.